there. How are you? I was just thinking of a few things that was like in my mind while I was like just driving around today. And you know how it is, you just be thinking about different things, right? And I was thinking about how people will say things like don't block my blessing, or I don't want to block my blessing, or so-and-so blocks my blessings. I was just thinking about that. And but then you know how we say, when something is really for you, or God really, like if God really wants to bless you with something, it's for you, right? But it is very true that even if God wants to bless you with something, that you can actually block your own blessings, But I was thinking about that, like, what example in the Bible do we have of something like that? And actually, I was thinking about Esau, right? I don't know if you guys remember in Genesis. Remember when Esau and his brother Jacob, remember Esau was really hungry, I think it was. He was really, really, really hungry. And he wanted some lentil stew or something like that. I remember, I got to go back and read the whole thing. But anyway, and his brother Jacob, who was really smart, was like, nah, fool, I'm gonna make you starve. I'm gonna make you be hungry, whatever, because, you got something I want. And remember what it was? It was his birthright. It was him being the firstborn. It was his birthright or his blessing to have certain things because he was the firstborn, right? So anyway, remember Esau gave up his birthright for that bowl of lentil stew. As my mom used to always say, couldn't he have given it up for something better? Because my mom hates lentils. She hates lentils. So she used to say, I would never have given up my birthright from some lentil stew. But anyway, Jacob ended up having his blessing, right? Because Esau essentially blocked his own blessing by not basically having faith in Jehovah God that he would provide him with food, I guess, from somebody else or something. I don't know, but he essentially blocked his own blessing, right? And I think this is very interesting, right? Because it's not so much that it's definitely not that Jehovah God didn't give him his blessing or offer him his blessing, right? Like put it right in front of his face, like it was right there, it was for him. But he literally gave it away. And I think about that also, I was just thinking about that in that scenario, or that concept, or that same thing, a blessing that God will literally hand you at different times in your life, or we might call them opportunities, right? Opportunities for growth, or opportunities for success, or different things that could really be a blessing in your life, or even in relationships. Like, the Bible talks about a good wife is your gift. Really, essentially, is your gift from God, right? And he can hand that to a man. I mean, literally hand it to him. And they can still, mess it up, right? Just totally give it away, or just, they mess their opportunity up with somebody that they might even have considered, or even have verbally said things like, you're so perfect for me, blah, 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 blah. You're my gift. There's nothing I would ever want. You don't lack nothing, things like that, And I say this because I was just thinking about it, because I was reflecting on the relationships that I've had and that I've been in, and how I've been told that. Like, I've been told literally to my face, and several times that I was what that person wanted. It was like they couldn't have asked for anything more. And actually, if I go ahead and quote what they say, because I don't like to sound conceited, and I definitely don't want to sound like I'm, you know, anything better than the next woman or whatever, because love and being perfect for somebody and beauty and all that kind of stuff is totally based on the person, right? Like, everybody is different with what they consider to be either pretty, or, you know, the personality is perfect or whatever, right? So trust me when I say that I'm not conceited to think that I'm everybody's cup of tea, because number one, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and number two, I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. And number three, I'm glad I'm not everybody's cup of tea, because I wouldn't even want that kind of attention. I don't even like that type of attention, right? But I've literally had men who have said to me, you are everything I would ever want. You know, you're perfect for me. You are literally perfect for me. You are my gift. Or you have been a gift, or you have been a blessing, or you are a blessing. I've literally been told that, right? To my face. And that same person will go, their behavior from that, their behavior will then turn into something that is like Esau. It's like they don't appreciate the gift that they've been given, or the opportunity, or the blessing. They essentially block their own blessing by their behaviors, which, you know, as a woman, and if you're a woman watching me, I can bet to say that you have probably, we're all imperfect, right? But you probably know what I'm talking about when I say how men will go out and they will just, you know, treat you some type of way, do whatever, or, you know, they say one thing, do another, or their actions don't even back up what they're saying. Because even it's like if Esau said, I appreciate my birthright, I'm happy that I have my birthright. If he said that, right, and then he turned around and so quickly gave up his birthright just for a bowl of lentil stew because he was hungry, you would literally say to yourself, well, his actions don't match his words, right? Or he must not have really appreciated that gift or that blessing from Jehovah, because his actions didn't match what he was saying. And so it's like, this happens at all levels, like at all kinds of levels. People can self-sabotage and block their own blessings, right? And it's true that, you know, you might, if something really is meant for you, that Jehovah will, maybe he will at a different time, when you come to a better appreciation, he'll offer you, or you'll get a chance to make amends, or, you know, have another blessing or something like that. But if you ever just stop and think about the times in your life that you might have blocked your blessing, right? And I had an experience with my older son. I love him. And he was about this close to receiving a BMW, right? He'd already had his first car, which was a Mercedes. But anyway, I mean, little spoiled brat. But it wasn't because of us. It was just because that was the car that was actually within the price range that the friend let him use or gave him or whatever. And anyway, he had been working very hard, and you know, we were very proud of him. Me and his stepfather, we were very proud of him. And he didn't know that for about 3 weeks, you know, we were negotiating and working with a friend to get him another car, because he was utilizing his other car. Didn't work out because it was like a lot of work needed to be done or whatever. And anyway, he was working, and he was trying to put money into it, and it appeared to be like everything was that he was, you know, working hard, which he was actually working hard. But you know, it was like, hey son, you know, make sure you stay on the up and up, stay on the right path, right? Appreciate what you have or whatever. And I asked very, you know, I feel like I'm a fair parent. You know, maybe I could be a little strict, but I definitely had some very basic rules. And it was like, you know, just we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to disrespect this. We're not going to do this. And we're not going to, certain things I'm just not going to, you know, have in my household. And actually it wasn't like a whole lot, but there was one thing in particular, and he knows what it is. And, you know, he knew what it was. And I'm telling you, the week we were gonna, literally that week that we were giving the man that money for that BMW, we were working it out. That week, found out just the one thing that he knew not to do, that he was hiding from me, right? And it kind of messed everything up because we were no longer like, we're not going to give him this blessing, right? And as a parent, we know children, they do things, right? But it's like when you reflect, and I know we've all made mistakes, so I'm sure I've blocked many of my own blessings too, but when you really think about it, it's like a lot of times that happens, right? Like right when you are about to be blessed by God for something in particular, or by somebody, or just what you want or whatever, you might do something ridiculous, stupid, say something or whatever, and something you can't come back from, right? And you essentially block your own blessing, and you will have usually at that point a series of events that may happen after that just like boom, 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 boom. It's like not good, right? Not good. Some people call that karma. Some people call that you reap what you sow or whatever. Usually it is God trying to get your attention, trying to make you stop and look at what you're doing, look at what you're saying, look at how you're treating people, and actually take ownership for it, like own up for it, right? I'm talking about these days, people will block their blessings even from, like, think about it. Like, now that we all have phones and everything, I know for me personally, my block list on my phone is long. I have a very long list of people that are blocked. I don't want to hear from them, right? I definitely made the decision, if you're on that block list, it's like you're on that list for a reason. It's like, I don't feel any blessings are going to come from you, but more than that, it might be cursings. Like, I might feel more cursed from you or something, right? Or it could be whatever, bill collectors, or just no numbers, whatever, no names, whatever. But think about it. I know people who have blocked people who were specifically trying to pay them. They were trying to give them some money, trying to send them some money, or trying to help them out or whatever. Or maybe God was even going to use that person to help you, but you got them on your block list. So essentially you block your own blessings, right? So like, I find this very interesting because you know what? For me, maybe it's because, I don't know, because I didn't grow up with Google, like I'm one of those people who literally has 1 foot in analog and 1 foot in digital. So I kind of grew up a little analog, but I was also coming up in digital. Like, it was like a little bit of both. But I grew up more in a time where I could go outside and play. And, times weren't quite as bad or whatever. But, definitely by the teenagers and, towards the end of my teenage years and all that kind of stuff, it was like more digital. Things were becoming more digital and stuff, right? And then it was like, very fast pagers, and then, beepers and pagers and everything, and boom, boom, boom with cell phones. And now we have literally, the cell phones are like little computers on our phone, right? So I'm like one of those people who just like fascinated by Google and all the information, because I was also one of those nerd girls, if you want to say a nerd girl, who would actually read in encyclopedias. Don't make fun of me. But when I was young, I read the big herbal books, and I read encyclopedias. I read my Bible all the time. Like, I really read those books. Like I'm that chick who in middle school I read Roots from cover to cover. Okay, a couple times, not just once or twice, like a couple times. And I read Queen at least 3 times by Alex Haley. Okay, because Queen was very romantic, you know what I mean? So, I kind of like that or whatever. Plus, she was biracial, and, I'm biracial, so I related to that. But I just found the history and the whole story, very interesting, right? Very fascinating. But I was a reader. I was a reader, and I was a speed reader, too. Like, I like to read. Anyway, but it was like, back then, it was like we had to, like, look through the book, and it was to find out information, right? Now, of course, we just have Google, and I just think it's so funny, the things that you can literally just find on Google, right? So if you ever just type up, who should I block, right? Who should I block on my phone, right? Because AI is going to tell you something, right? But I want to read this to you because I just think this is so funny. It says, this was the answer. This is just what the answer came up. You should block anyone who is causing you significant stress, emotional harm, or is engaging in abusive behavior, including ex-partners who are impacting your mental health after a breakup, People who are harassing you, individuals who are spreading harmful rumors, or anyone who consistently makes you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, whether online or in person. I mean, I just think this is so funny. Like, if you are like, I'm not very smart myself, and you know what? I don't want to block my blessings, right? I don't want to block my blessings. But I wonder if I should block this person XYZ. I don't know. You could actually just like, type it in and just see what Google says, see what AI says, right? And when you do that, if you read that and if you can answer yes, this person XYZ I'm thinking of does all these things, then you should put them on your block list. They should be blocked. Now, if you put people on your block list for reasons outside of this, stalking, toxic relationships, harassment, abuse, post breakup, distresses, direct communication, now they're talking about what you should do, seeking support, stuff like that. Anyway, if you're blocking people for outside of reasons, right? Outside of those reasons, right? You might be blocking your blessing. You might be what we call running. You might be a runner. You might be actually running from, dealing with your emotions, or dealing with, or being upfront with your emotions from somebody in particular, or some people, or whatever, or just not dealing. Like, maybe you're just like, I don't want to deal with this, right? Now, this is what I think is so funny. I love my son, and me and him talk all the time. I would say we have a pretty open relationship now, as far as like, being able to talk about things, but he can be annoying to me, and as my mother likes to say, I do the same thing to her. But he can sometimes go on and on and what I would consider to be, a bit harassing in his text messages. Like, something that he wants. Like, when he really, really, really wants something, he'll just go on about it. Like, like, give me he wanted my TV one day I bought. He was just like, I want the TV. I mean, he was just going on about it to the point he was driving me bananas, and I had to block him. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, because back in the day, remember with the old time phones, we were able to just like, take the phone off the receiver, and it would just be like, nobody could get through because we just took the phone off. It would be like that, or hanging up on a person or whatever. But like, we can't do that now with our cell phones, right? So sometimes it's like, okay, this person is harassing me, even if it is your son. But it's like, I'll put him on block, but I put him on block for like, maybe 2 or 3 hours, right? Just enough to get him to stop texting and calling and whatever, and driving me crazy because I'm trying to work or something, right? But you unblock them and then you deal with the issue, right? Okay. That's even not even when I'm talking about that. I'm talking about people who just, sincerely, they know they've done you wrong. They know they've done something wrong to you, or they know they've hurt your feelings, or they know they haven't been upfront with you about something in particular or whatever, right? And instead of owning up to what they've done and apologizing, or instead of just being an upfront kind of person, or just being what I would call a stand-up man, and dealing with whatever face on, they block you. They'll just block you. And that's because they want to stick their head in the sand, and like an ostrich, stick your head in the sand and pretend that this problem, this people, this person, this job, this bill, whatever, doesn't exist, right? And obviously, that that's not going to work. That's really not going to work, because in actuality, that person or whatever, they may actually be your blessing, or you may be blocking a blessing. Sometimes our blessings come in ways and forms that we don't know, right? And so, but I will say that because of the situations and things that I've gone through here recently in last year, especially last year, there were plenty of times that I definitely had to block people who were absolutely doing those types of things on the list. I felt very harassed. I felt very agitated. My soul was agitated. I didn't want to hear from them, or they were being hurtful in some sort of way. They were being hurtful. They were being nasty. And that's not a blessing. That's not a blessing. In fact, that's wrong. And in fact, people who are unpurposely trying to bully people or say nasty things or spread rumors or just try to get you upset or whatever, those kinds of things, those type of people usually have that same energy return right back to them in some way, shape, or form. There's so many drones out now. Anyway, and so, but I was just thinking about that, like, people who pretty much just give up their birthright, or who just give up their blessings, and sometimes, Jehovah God really is trying to bless you because of something you've done good, and basically, here's the thing. We see this in the Bible. We see this and we hear this all the time. You hear this and you can find many, many, many examples of this in the Bible, right? But like, when you give up something for Jehovah God, when you sacrifice something for God, and yes, I believe in Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is his son, okay? And Jesus Father is Jehovah God, Yahweh, okay? But anyway, when you give up something for him, for his name's sake, or for his glory, for his worship, or something like that, right? Like, when you make a sacrifice for Jehovah God, he always blesses you after that. He always gives you a blessing, because that's all he wants from us. See, Jehovah God doesn't force any of us to serve him, to worship him. He does not force anybody to do anything that they don't really want to do. Like, he doesn't force us to worship him. He wants us to worship him out of our own free will, right? He wants us to love him, to reverend him, to worship him, to glorify him, to, speak well upon Jehovah God, to do everything by our own free will, right? This is to prove to Satan and anyone else to show who we are actually in support of and who we want to worship, right? But that's the thing. So that's the thing. He wants that of our own free will. He wants us to do that. And because that is the case with Jehovah God, when you do that for him, you get a blessing. You get a blessing, right? And it's just that you have to actually, in your mind, you have to kind of like, and also when you sacrifice for God, also when you do it, not just for the blessing, but you also do it because it's what's really in your heart. Like, it's really what's in your heart. Okay. So it's not just like, I'm going to do this just for the blessing, right? But when you do something, you do the right thing, or you choose to do the right thing, or you give up something, somebody, whatever, you give up something, you sacrifice for God, and you do it for him with a good heart, with a willing heart, with a pure intention, right? That's when you get your blessing. You will get your blessing. You will receive your blessing when you've done the right thing, when you've sacrificed and you've done the right thing. You will. Sometimes, though, it doesn't come the next day. Sometimes it doesn't come like with a big sign per se that says, hey, I'm your blessing for doing XYZ. But when we've actually, sorry guys, when we've actually done that and actually have reflected though and realized, like, you know what, my blessing did come months later, or whatever, and then how did you treat that blessing? How did you treat that blessing? Did you appreciate it? Did you recognize it? Did you give it up? Did you just like easily give it up? Did you give it away? Did you try to sell it? Or worse, did you block it? Did you block your blessing? Right? Did you block your blessing? Did you even thank God for your blessing? Because every good gift comes from Jehovah God. And that's what the Bible says. Every good gift comes from him. So did you thank him for your blessing? Like, if you had a good woman, ever, what did you do to appreciate her? And also, did you thank God when she came into your life? Did you thank God for your blessing? Did you thank God for your gift? It's just something to think about. It's just something to think about.